Alright, this is what I end up with after my wiring. Got it all put together. Just slid the two halves together, put a couple screws in, tuck some wires away. As you can see, it's ready to go. So we're going to plug it in and test it. Just using a standard computer plug here. And we're going to plug in, we're going to use a lamp to test it, just because it's easier to see when it turns on or off. And I'll plug in my thermocouple here, make sure I get it turned the right way, and there we go. Let's turn it on. Just kind of a minute of warm up here, and this number down here is what I have it set to, 23.5. That's degrees Celsius, and that's my target. 17.5 in red on top here. That's what this thermocouple is currently reading for temperature. And I have this in a heating application, meaning that I want it to be on. I want it to be running until it hits this number, and then it should turn off until it cools off, and then turns back on to maintain this bottom number right here. So we can see that my lamp is on. We should be able to hear the fan running. That's a little computer fan that I have in the back. And that's just pointed at the solid state relay to keep that cool. You can also see this little red light right here. Tells me that it's currently operating. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold this thermocouple in my hand for a minute. We should see this temperature rise until it hits, past our target. And there's a little fluctuation in there because it's constantly sensing. But you can see we got up past our target. We're now at 26 degrees, and so our target was 23. So now things turned off, and that's going to allow it to cool back down to around this temperature. We should see, hopefully it doesn't take too long, we should see that once it starts coming down closer to this temperature or below it, that it'll start turning on in cycles, and those cycles will be start out really short at first, and will continue longer and longer the further we get below our target temperature. This is taking a lot longer than I expected. You can see that right now, even as we're approaching our target temperature, it's turning it on in short little bursts to try to maintain that temperature. And those will get longer and longer the further the temperature drops, until I think it only has to get like a couple degrees below your set number before it's just constantly on. It'll remain on until you reach that temperature again. Now, my real application, I'm going to be using this to control a melting pot, and this thermocouple will be in the pot. So as the pot cools, it'll sense that and turn the pot on, turn the heating element on, and then as the pot heats, once it gets up around and above your set temperature, it'll turn off, which allows the pot to cool, and it'll constantly turning the pot on and off to try to maintain a consistent temperature around your setting. You can see now that it's getting lower. It's turning it on in longer and longer bursts, and if we keep this going, eventually it'll just stay on constantly. But we don't need to stick around for that. We can see that it's working, and that's it.